Chapter 25. The Whispering Hollow. The ravine's crimson stream gurgled beneath Dylan, its icy bite soaking his boots as he crawled, each movement a battle against the concussion's relentless fog. His head throbbed, a splinter of pain behind his eyes, blurring the jungle's blood-red gloom into a feverish smear. His starry scars burned under his tattered tunic, pulsing in rhythm with the Bloodwild's drone, a low, guttural hum that seemed to claw inside his skull, whispering things he couldn't quite hear. The air was rancid, thick with rot and that sickly sweet tang, like fruit left to fester. His body ached, bruised ribs, scraped arms, a gash on his knee from the river's rocks. But he was alive, a fragile spark in a world that wanted him snuffed out. Civilization was his only hope, a village or road to anchor him, then a path back to Vea, Zariel, Lys, and Arla. But the jungle's heart was a maze, and something ancient, vast, and wrong hunted him, its presence a cold weight on his soul. He pressed against the ravine's moss-slick wall, the boulder's shadow offering meager cover. His breath came in shallow gasps, each one a betrayal in the oppressive silence. The rustle had stopped, but the quiet was worse, unnatural, like the jungle held its breath, waiting. His scars flared, a sudden heat, and the thing's voice slithered into his mind again, not words, but a sensation, like roots coiling around his thoughts. You cannot hide, marked one. The veil sees all. It was closer now, its malice a physical thing, pressing on his chest, squeezing his lungs. Dylan's hands trembled, his mind teetering on the edge of panic. He wasn't meant to be here. This stretch of the Bloodwild was a profane scar, a place where Eryndor's gods turned their backs, leaving only hunger. He forced himself to move, crawling through the stream, the water's crimson glow dimming to a sickly grey, as if the jungle itself was dying. The ravine narrowed, its walls closing in, roots dangling like skeletal fingers, dripping acid sap that hissed where it hit the water. His concussion warped his senses. Trees seemed to twist, their black trunks bending to watch him, their violet leaves pulsing with a rhythm that matched his frantic pulse. He blinked hard, trying to clear the fog, but the world felt wrong, like a dream where the rules kept shifting. Was he still running? Had he ever stopped? The thought gnawed at him, a seed of doubt that bloomed into dread. What if this was the Star Shatter's doing, a trip that never ended, trapping him in a nightmare of his own making? A low scrape echoed above, not a twig, but something heavier, like claws on stone. Dylan froze, heart slamming, his breath catching in his throat. The sound came again, deliberate, circling the ravine's rim, and the air grew colder. The drone softening to a hiss, like 1,000 voices whispering just out of reach. He pressed lower, mud smearing his face, and risked a glance upward. Shadows coiled at the edge, thicker than the jungle's gloom, their edges flickering and not solid, but alive, writhing like vines, woven with starless voids. The thing didn't show itself, but its gaze was a blade at his neck, ancient and patient, savoring his fear. His scars burned, tying him to it, and a Star Shatter vision hit. A crimson altar, its runes bleeding, a figure of twisted vines and hollow eyes, its voice a chant. Your blood is ours, your soul the price. The vision shattered, leaving him gasping, the ravine's walls seeming to pulse, as if the jungle itself was the creature's flesh. He crawled faster, nails scraping stone, the stream's current tugging at him. The ravine opened into a hollow, a sunken bowl of red-veined earth ringed by gnarled trees, their branches woven into a canopy that blocked the sky. Bones littered the ground, skulls, femurs, some human, some not, cracked and gnawed, arranged in patterns that made his stomach lurch. At the hollow's center stood a totem, a twisted column of vines and bone, topped with a skull that wasn't human, its eye sockets glowing with a faint, sickly green. The air here was heavy, suffocating, the sweet rot stench overwhelming. Dylan's scars blazed, white-hot, and the drone rose to a wail, a chorus of voices in a tongue he didn't know but felt, each syllable a hook in his mind. He backed away, heart pounding, but the shadows moved, not one but many, circling the hollow's edge. They weren't shapes anymore, but presences, their forms flickering between vine and flesh, tall and thin, their edges dissolving into the gloom. They didn't advance, but their whispers filled his head, a cacophony of hunger and rage. Trespasser, marked one, feed the veil. His concussion twisted the sounds, making them seem to come from inside him, as if his own thoughts were turning traitor. He clutched his head, vision swimming, and stumbled, falling to his knees beside a pile of bones. A skull stared up at him, its jaw open in a silent scream. And for a moment, it was his face, gaunt, scarred, eyes hollow with terror. "No!" he rasped, scrambling back, his voice frail, swallowed by the wail. "This isn't real! You're not real!" But the thing was real, its presence a cancer in the air, its whispers burrowing deeper. "You are nothing. Your world is dust. Give yourself to us." His scars pulsed, a beacon, and he realized they weren't just marks, they were a claim, tying him to this horror, to the altar, to a ritual he'd never understand. Was this Calith's blessing, Vaughn's curse, or something older, something that fed on gods and men alike? A branch snapped behind him, close, too close. He spun, seeing nothing but feeling it, inches away, its breath a cold gust that reeked of decay. The totem's green glow flared, and the shadows tightened their circle, their whispers now a chant, rhythmic, relentless, pulling at his will. Dylan's mind fractured, the concussion blending fear with memory, his coastal town, the robbery's knife, Nate's star-shatter vial, all leading here, to this hollow where he was prey. He wasn't a hero, wasn't Vea's student, just a lost man, small and broken, his soul a prize for something he couldn't name. He bolted, sprinting for the hollow's edge, vines tearing at his skin, the ground pulsing beneath him. The shadows pursued, not running but gliding, their forms stretching, limbs impossibly long, fingers like thorns reaching for his back. The chant grew louder, a physical force pushing him down, and his scars burned so fiercely he thought they'd tear him apart. He dove into the jungle, branches snapping, the hollow's wail chasing him, the thing's voice a final promise. "You cannot flee the veil, your blood will sing." He ran blindly, the jungle a blur, his concussion blurring reality and terror into one. The Bloodwild was no longer just a place, it was a mind, a will, and he was its prisoner, hunted by a force that knew his every fear. Civilization was a fading dream, his group a distant hope, and the thing behind him was eternal, its hunger a truth he couldn't outrun. His scars glowed, a traitor's light, and the jungle's jaws snapped shut, the horror only beginning.